I don't believe personally in using reference images. I think reference images are a joke. If I tell a model कि ऐसे खड़े हो, क्योंकि मेरे reference images में ऐसा दिख रहा है, I want her to do that. She can or can't do it. Now, what that means is that there's already a state of confusion that you have created. Every portrait session that I do, I shoot about 2,000 photographs per look. So if you do 3 looks, it's about 6,000, 5,000, 6,000 photographs.
Like, it's very hard to copy when you have a style. Can we talk about like how did you develop it?
I think from the very beginning, I just realized that if you are at Mount Everest and you take a picture of someone, it's very hard to mess that up because you're at Mount Everest. The location is great. If you're shooting a person, the person should be great in the image, not the location. And I think this gear lust crap is just making people feel that the best feedback they can ever get to hear is camera change kar le. Fuck yes, किसी ने बोल दिया. अब तो मैं Sony लूंगा और मैं better बनूं. I think the only thing that you should invest in photography, any money that you have in whatever gear you want to buy, should be a gear that helps you see things differently.
Yeah. You also have very strong opinions on exposure, right?
I do. I feel there is good exposure and there's bad exposure. Let me tell you about exposure.
So when in this segment of Frame of Mind, we will talk about
exposure and how you can pay your works, how you can pay your life and pay your rent with exposure as well.
Welcome to another episode of Frame of Mind, where we take a deep dive into artist's brain. And today we have my buddy Vink, Vinay Kumar. Bro, the thing I love about you is like a very straightforward person.
Thank you.
Is there any reason like why are you like that?
Why am I a straightforward person? I don't know. I think as a in my preteens and my teens, I used to just overcomplicate things too much. You know how sometimes you do that.
I completely feel that.
And it's, you're at fault. You're the only one at fault for doing that. So I have just realized that there is a very simple way to live your life. And you can progressively enjoy that and find peace in it. So there's no complications, nothing. Keep it straightforward, keep it transparent. That's how I like my friendships to be. That's how I like my relationships to be and my work as well.
Because I always give you the credit for the pizza chef theory.
Yeah, yes, that was cool.
Okay, everyone has the same ingredients, lights, camera, and like whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the magic you create with that, it's like completely like. And I always give you compliment for you have a style. Like it's very hard to copy when you have a style, because anyone can just put up lights and be like this. So like, can we talk about like how did you develop it?
I think from the very beginning, I just realized that if you are at Mount Everest and you take a picture of someone, it's very hard to mess that up because you're at Mount Everest. The location is great. Oh. So I'm like, I don't want to put that much effort and value into the location. If you're shooting a person, the person should be great in the image, not the location. So if you're like a lot of people, I think in Bombay love to shoot Asiatic. And I have done that too. I have been
guilty.
Everyone has been guilty of shooting at Asiatic because it's white, it's great, it looks timeless. Timeless is the right word. So, but then I was like, I think every location is great because what you have to make look great in that location is the person you're shooting, right? So at that point of time, I just took the location out of the equation. I'm like, how can I, this happened post the lockdown. Even pre the lockdown, I used to shoot on garbage bags, I used to shoot on chairs. I used to find beauty in a corner of the room. That's the most neglected corner of the room. Why is it neglected? There's still.
I can vouch for you because I've seen your house, the wall.
It's terrible as shit. You've seen the wall that I shoot on, right?
No, it's not terrible. It's just normal. You don't imagine कि इतना सादा है, simple सादा है. When I came to your house and you showed me, bro, this is where I shoot. I was like, are you seriously? It looks so amazing. I thought you were in a studio or something.
So I think a studio is based off a background. We right now are sitting in a studio and there's a background. So that's all you need. And I very soon realized that if you get into a different form of lighting, you can just make the background do whatever the hell you want it to do, right? Not even a textured background can do stuff that a white wall can because it's neutral as shit. So you start painting on it. So I was a terrible painter as a kid. So this is my way of trying to paint. Context that you take from that is that I'm a terrible painter. But I think this way of painting in a way that you feel like makes sense to you in a way. It's simple also because you're painting with light. You can just put it however you want, add a gradient, and then you shoot the person in front. Because I think the location can only so much add a mood to your image. The rest of it has to be the person. The rest of it has to be the frame of the angle that you use and the colors that encapsulate the scene. You can shoot a model wearing green in front of a green background. But why are you doing it? It should make sense with how you're shooting it. Yeah. So apart from that, if you want to change things up and make things more exciting, you give the model different clothes. You maybe don't get a green background. You start shooting in front of leaves. You start shooting in front of like the tiles on the floor, the window. So why are you doing that? And what the model is wearing, it should only help to elevate the mood, because what the mood that you should be getting from the image should come directly from your viewing of the image. 3 seconds while you look at the image. I have a 3 second rule. That's how I select and filter out my images as well. If the image holds me for 3 seconds.
Can you tell me why you have a 3 second rule? Because how many pictures you click?
Yeah, I click way too many pictures. I use a Fujifilm camera. I think we spoke about it last time. We joked about it. So I have a Fujifilm X100F. It's what most of my content on Instagram is shot on. That camera it's supposed to be used for street, and it's supposed to last you a lifetime, because people don't expect you to shoot that many photos on it. But every portrait session that I do, I shoot about 2,000 photographs per look. So if you do 3 looks, it's about 6,000, 5,000, 6,000 photographs. So the shutter count of my camera is an exclamation mark since 99,999. And that happened about a year and a half back. So I'm pushed it way ahead of that. Right. So I have 2,000 images to filter through. And what that means is that if I spend all my time editing every image, I'm losing out on the idea of this. Because I don't shoot 2,000 great images. That's not supposed to be the point of it. I keep shooting so the model keeps feeling that someone is clicking. There's a constant activity that's happening. So when you're photographing and you take a backside to just frame your shot for 6 minutes, get everything right, perfect, I think the connection with the model goes away. And I don't mean this in any other sort of connection, but as a photographer's connection with the subject. If that goes away, you can see that in the eyes. And so that's why I keep clicking.
And it's not even the eyes, just the way people move. When they're confident around you and when they're awkward around you, it's just like body language is like completely
exactly different. You kind of you give the whole you give an exponential curve to how fast the model builds up the confidence when you're shooting with them. If you continuously keep shooting, it wastes your shutter, but it's free in the digital age. So why the hell not, right?
No one talks about how to build that relationship with like models.
Yeah.
Can you just give me like idea how do you do it? Because I've seen the pictures, they always feel, I give you a compliment on this as well, because it feels like I'm repeating the podcast we have done at your home.
Yeah, we've done it.
It's like we did not shoot it.
Yeah, we were prepared.
Vink
this is round 2 of the podcast.
Your images always feel like alive. They are in a moment. A subject is always feeling something.
Yeah.
And you, as you told me, your process with that is super important.
Yes.
How do you get that feeling?
So I shoot in front of a wall. So there's no feeling that people can very easily derive from that. But what I provide them is a space on the floor. That means you don't have to like sit on the floor and you have to shoot. I just give them like a boundary. Not even a restrictive boundary. I always let them do whatever they want. First of all, I'm not using flashes. So I can exactly see how the light's falling on my subject. So that is taken, like it's taken out of the equation. How will the image look? I always know how the image is looking. So now I have to just figure out how to make the model look the image that I want.
Nice. That's very smart. Then you're not using flash.
Yeah, that's because like what you see is what you get is the most important part about doing or using continuous lighting. You do both videos and photos, which I started doing very recently, about 2 years back. So I'm like, I can't do videos on like flashes. Continuous light use karna, and then that just opened up the whole door that why can't you take photos on continuous light as well? Because you can see exactly what the hell you're shooting. Your videos look consistent with your photos. Yeah. And there's just a holistic and continuous frame of mind that you have while doing it. So it takes a lot of stress out of the whole thing. Like the content creation process it becomes more free flowing that way. But coming to the point of what I tell the model or how I build that relationship and how I get them to do what they want, is I let them be. I don't believe personally in using reference images. I think reference images are a joke. Yeah, I think it's a very controversial thought, and I believe a lot of people don't agree with me on this, because whenever you start talking a photo shoot opportunity with a client or with a model for that matter, they'll be like, send me reference images. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who you are. I don't know how you pose. What reference should I give you? Okay, there's a reference that I would want to shoot you in a particular way. Yes. My references stop at the clothes. Okay. I want you to wear something blue, denim, simple, crop top, like a jacket or a suit or something. That's the look we're going for. That's my ref. Uske baad, I know that until the model comes in front of the light and stands, I can't do anything. I don't know how the lighting is going to look on her face. I don't know what lighting I'll use. I know the clothes that she's wearing, so I can maybe do a startup light. So I have 3 looks that I do with everyone. The first look is a warm-up. The first look is a photo set that they'll probably never get in their life. Maybe a few of them from the first look. The first look is just meant to serve as an ice-breaking session between me and the model. In that first look, I will make the model do everything. Look left, look right, look up, look down, fix the light fixtures. How will the key light look on the model? What colors look better on her? Because you may believe it or not, but the color red I use a lot in my images looks better on some people than it does on others. And it's got more to do with how you use it. If I'm able to figure that out with the connection that I built with the model, then I'll use red. Otherwise, I'll not. Because red is an incredibly easy color to color grade when you're doing in the editing process. But when you mix red and blue together, it gets messed up. And it has a lot to do with say
how those colors reflect on her skin.
On her skin, exactly, the skin tonality and the way the hair is forming. You know, if it's glossy or if it's matte, all that matters. So for me, the makeup doesn't matter in the shoot. The hair doesn't matter in the shoot. I just ask the model to open her hair and close her hair. Simple shit. Keep the shoot as simple as possible so you can just really work upon how the model is supposed to give me from the photo. What she's supposed to give me from the photo.
Now I know why you say you don't have a reference for poses.
Yeah.
Because as you said, you're customizing the lighting effect to match the person's skin tones often.
Yes.
Like, and not even like, I'm talking like very photography generic skin tones, matlab, to look that person the best in the color combination.
Yes.
Not just put a color combination, be like, nahi, abhi to karna hi hai.
Exactly. No, वैसे नहीं होगा. So the first look that we always shoot is like a very basic look. Monotonous, black or white. Fuck it. Easy peasy. Why? What that does is it helps me formulate the key light. Some people, harsh light, open blank, continuous light works better on the face than soft light does. For some people, you have to use soft light because the harsh light is not giving their face that kind of drama, that theme that we want. Because I do personally believe that when I look at a model's profile to work with her, I find potential first. I don't care what kind of shoot she has done or what kind of shoot she will be doing. I look at the potential in her basic Instagram photos. There are Instagram models and then there are models. I believe that it's fun working with both.
Another contrast.
Yeah. I believe it's fun working with both because Instagram models, they have an idea of how they have to pose for an image. That may or may not work with the idea that the photographer wants to build. But you as a photographer, you start becoming an observer at some point. You're like, I observe that this person can do this thing that I want to try out. And we will try it out. It's just, I won't ever let her know what that is. Because if I tell a model, why? Okay, the reference image point, right? If I tell a model ki, aise khade ho, because मेरे reference images में ऐसा दिख रहा है, and there is smoke in the background and it's like all breezy and stuff, like wow, okay, ये create करेंगे, बहुत अच्छा image लग रहा है. पहली बात तो किसी और का photo है. A reference image already exists. Yeah. I find joy in creating something that I have never seen before. Of course, red and blue color combinations exist, but I have never seen them in the way that I am trying to capture this image. So I always try and find joy in the way of like, you know, इसमें नया कुछ करते हैं. नया भी, it's new with very like stuff that it's tried and tested stuff. But how can you add your new take onto it? So reference images में अगर मैंने दिखाया model ऐसे करने का, I want her to do that. She can or can't do it. Now what that means is that there's already a state of confusion that you have created. Okay, model will keep thinking, oh no, I have to do this because this is what the photographer wants. Photographer will keep thinking, model's not able to do it. You're already destroying a connection that's not even been built by just shoving a reference image into the equation.
That's so good.
Because I've tried it. I've sent reference images to people and then I've been like, aisa kuch karte hain. It's cool. And I've myself realized they are not able to do it because it's not their body. Every person's body speaks differently. Everybody's expertise and their experience in modeling speaks differently in a photograph. You can know and if you see a person, you'll know if they're a model or if they're a person who looks good. A person who looks good can't always pose well, you know. Yeah. If you're telling a story, it's about the whole body. It's not just the face. You can, of course, tell with the face too. So I'm like, you know, I don't believe in reference images and I think they just destroy the idea of a shoot, which is supposed to be building a connection between the photographer and the model and to get something interesting and excitingly new out of it that neither the model has been a part of, that neither you have shot.
And what you're saying now, like I can 100% resonate because like I was just like last week I did a shoot. We had the references ready and the person was a good looking person, like really good looking person, really sweet girl. And we were just not able to get that kind of a look which we were trying to get.
Yeah.
Because all the pictures I was looking for, they were like a girl laughing, smiling, smirking. And she has a face which really looks good when she is just calm.
Right.
And if we are just fighting with the confusion ki ye kar rahe hain and you're not doing this, the calm is just gonna go away. She'll try to do a fake smile or something else.
Yeah.
And you will just not get the pictures you want. And the pictures I got just by her just straight looking into a camera and having nothing on her face, just a calm look, are like my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and at the end of the shoot, often you get like a best images.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the person is like super calm, they are super free, they're like, acha karo. And now she's smiling, I'm getting bangers one after another. And then I'm like, okay, like this is something I was doing the mistake which I came to just now. Okay, you know what? Don't try to mold them, because that will just make them very
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
And you want to put out like a very good point. Ki there are people who just look beautiful, and there are models.
Yes.
This is not discriminating anything, but models inherently
Yeah.
are very confident
Yes.
and very secure with the way they look and the move.
Yeah.
And you can just
I think good-looking people are also very confident that way. They don't think they have an insecurity. They're sort of shaded with the idea of themselves. Like, okay, you know what? They think they're doing the right. This is the difference. A good-looking person who's probably not modeled or hasn't been photographed much, you can define their beauty because they look good objectively, right? But they are always going to feel what they're doing is great. They have an idea of what the photographs are supposed to look like because that's how their Instagram looks like. When the photographs don't look like the Instagram, they're like, this is not good. This is not good work. I've worked with people and I've shot them in a way that I felt was like defining to their personality. They didn't like it because it was not how they were supposed to be defined because they had an idea of themselves. A model will be more open to the idea of, hey, you know what? I'm a model. So if I have to act like a cat in a video, I'm going to do it because that's the character I'm given. They are more open to the idea of entertaining a different personality in a photo shoot because they love to explore that, and that's fun. With working with models, it's also equally fun working with a person who looks good and has an idea of themselves because you have to show them a different side to themselves too. So that's also fun because you will have to direct them more. It is more work, but at the end of the day, the product that you get satisfies you creatively, whether it satisfies them or not. It mostly may not.
And like at the end of the day, like it's just on how well you are as a photographer in directing the models or
Yeah.
like even a person.
Yeah.
Because even you have like a best models. तुमको वही 2-3 look मिलने वाले हैं if you just like
Yeah.
go ahead and be like, madam, pose, and you will get like a 4 similar images which already newspaper and other people have covered. But if you're someone who knows how to articulate a person differently, that's where you start getting a magic. That's where the magic happens.
That's where you start, opening up yourself to the idea of what you initially said, a style. So once you start doing this, you will start formulating a style that nobody has, that you yourself have not seen anywhere else because you've cultivated it organically. You're not cultivating a good photograph through a reference image anymore. You're cultivating it through what you want to see. So that automatically builds your style, and no one will even try and come close to replicating it because it's impossible. Because they are reference image people. And even reference image people have a great style. But I do firmly believe that the people's work that you see and that you've come to respect, and the people who inspire you in this photography journey or whatever, are going to be people who have no reference images, they just know what to shoot.
Bro, for the first 2 years of my smartphone photography, I just click picture on an iPhone 4 and I just show it to my dad. That's all, because I did not know there was Facebook. I'm like that. Where it comes to like, because I was in Marathi school. So Marathi school, they're like, unless and until you reach at 10th standard, you don't know what the fuck is Facebook. Many time pe. Abhi to malum nahi. And then like I used to click and that is like, oh, fine, nice, looks good. And iPhone was the highest standard of photography. कि तभी तो मतलब एंड्रॉइड था भी नहीं शायद, क्या मालूम था कि नहीं, बट आईफोन cameras were like really good. And I just used to edit things on Snapseed, which my dad was like, what is this? And I'm like, this is Snapseed, Google का app है. They just and filters, all the third class filters, which अभी तुम देख के मतलब उल्टी कर दोगे. And it's just like, and that was photography for me. And when we discovered Instagram, then we were like, अच्छा, there are like other fishes in the sea.
Trust me, when you have you been to Behance?
Behance, yeah.
You've been to Behance? You go on Instagram and you look around and you're like, wow, there's a lot of fish in the sea. You go to Behance and you start feeling like you are a piece of shit in the sea. Because everything on Behance is so strikingly out of your league. It's like, you've been like chilling at home watching like, oh wow, like mere society में बहुत सुंदर लड़कियां हैं. And then you go to Spain. You're like, what have I been missing out on? So you just feel on Behance that the people are just, you can't match them. They are top of their class, and there are 100,000 of them. In Instagram, you'll find 3 people who are great. On Behance, everyone.
But isn't that where your mindset is going to be tested? Because now it's like what you want to do. Do you just want to stay in a shell, or do you want to be like as good as those people on Behance? I do believe a lot of people love hanging out with people who respect their work. First of all, I feel this idea of positive criticism, right, is hoaxed as shit.
Because you go to any photographer's profile and everyone, like 45, 75 comments are like, wow, it's great, it's nice, it's amazing. Wow, such a great photographer. They are going to say that to you because they're friends. You need to hang out with people. You need to start hanging out with people who will look at your work and be like, that could be different about it. You should know how to like take it nicely also. Like, why did he say that? Like, what? You didn't like my color editing? Hated it? Why? And then you look back and you're like, hey, you know what? One person has hated on it. There must be something about it that I can change. That doesn't mean you go and you're like, oh my God, now I will never do this editing again. I'm terrible.
I like you brought out the point of like asking for a feedback, which a lot of people don't do it.
Which I think a lot of people do. No one gives them the right feedback.
Yeah.
You go and ask your friend, photography,
Isn't like, how do you differentiate between feedback and opinion? Because I have seen most of the time when you ask someone a feedback on their work, it's often an opinion.
Yes.
Right? If you had an expert portrait photographer, is it really good? Then whatever he's giving you, that is a feedback.
Yes.
If you're asking your friend, he's like, "Arey bro, fire emoji in the comments," and that is just an opinion.
First of all, I think when you ask for feedback, right, you should never ask how does the photo look. I feel your feedback, the way that you ask for feedback, should also be different. It should be like, first of all, when you're asking someone a feedback, you already know what's wrong in your photograph because you feel it's not right. Something can be better about it. Okay. And you already have defined what could be better about it, but you need someone else to tell that to you. So you just have to be real with yourself. You ask yourself feedback first. ठीक से खींचा ना मैंने, कलर अच्छे लग रहे हैं, नहीं अच्छे नहीं लग रहे, चेंज कर लेते हैं. You yourself can give you the best feedback because you know objectively what's out there. You know what you've seen, what makes sense. You asking another photographer feedback should always be done in a way that what could I have done to make this image better. It should not be photo कैसी है. बहुत अच्छी है फोटो यार. फोटो कोई भी फोटो बुरी नहीं होती, तो फोटो राइट. इसमें और क्या कर सकते हैं? लाइक मैंने इस लोकेशन में शूट किया, किसी और में शूट करते तो कैसे कर सकते थे? I think if your constructive feedback you will get only when you ask constructive questions, which I don't feel people do. A lot of people ask me photo कैसा लग रहा है. I'm like, अच्छा यार, अच्छा फोटो है. फोटो में कोई बुराई नहीं, क्योंकि फोटो में बुराई हो नहीं सकती है. इसमें अलग तुम्हें करना है कुछ, तो वो पूछ सकते हो, क्या कर सकते हो अलग. Then a lot of people have started like, I know few people who keep asking me for feedback. And my only question to them first of all is, what do you think can be changed? And then they're like, color thoda better ho sakta tha, ya fir I think model se I could have gotten more from the model. I'm like, good, that's your feedback, go do it. You know exactly what has to change. Why are you asking me? I can help guide you through it, but I can't do anything differently for you. Right? Me seeing your image is bad or it's good should do nothing in your process of yourself. Your journey should not change based on a feedback. You should take it, you should understand whether it's good feedback or bad feedback, because not all feedback is good feedback too. Because a person shooting on I've seen this so many times. A lot of people have like this very entry level camera and they think they're terrible just because they have that Canon 500D from 20 years ago.
The next topic is a gear wala rant.
Yeah, bro. I think a lot of people feel कि मेरे पास Canon 200D है, इसलिए मैं टट्टी फोटो ले रहा हूँ यार. इसमें वो 45 मेगापिक्सल वाला चार्म नहीं है जो सोनी में है. इसमें वो लेंस नहीं है मेरे पास जो सोनी में है. And then some people are like, यार मेरे पास iPhone नहीं है, इसलिए फोटो अच्छी नहीं है. iPhone takes the best photos apparently, because that's what we've been told. And I think this gear lust crap is just making people feel that the best feedback they can ever get to hear is camera change कर ले. Fuck yes, किसी ने बोल दिया. अब तो मैं Sony लूँगा, अब मैं better बनूँ. I've seen so many people go from like a camera that's great to a camera that they really want to buy because the world says it's great. And they're the same photographer still. What's different? You haven't changed jack shit, right? You're now just being crap on 45 megapixels. Well, you were crap in 20. It's the only difference. I just feel people are they're gravitating towards gear.
People are going to cry after listening to this.
I always tell them, like, कोई मुझसे पूछता है मैं एक कैमरा खरीदूं, 1.5 lakh का बजट है मेरा. मैंने कहा भोसड़ी के 1.5 lakh. Am I allowed to say all this?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm like, you have 1.5 lakhs and you want to buy a camera. Go buy some lights, man. Go buy some 2 LC 500Rs. And
this is such a good budget to buy lights. You can buy any professional lights.
Yeah, you buy whatever light you want to kit out the whole studio. You can kit it out in 1 lakh, bro. And then go take a trip to Paris, which will actually help your fucking journey.
Foreign portfolio, man.
Yeah, like now you can just write, like on your bio, A74 leke, A74. क्योंकि मैं इस कैमरे से फोटो खींचता हूँ. मैं I'm spectacular. So I just feel that whatever money that you want to spend on a camera, lenses are great investments. Yeah. I have always bought second-hand lenses because I feel lenses retain great value if you know how to test them out. So that's one thing. Buy second-hand lenses, they hold value. If you can buy a 10-year-old car, why can't you buy a 5-year-old lens? Who's stopping you? They have great value. It's glass. It doesn't get fucked up that easily. So you put that on a camera and it'll give you a different perspective to life. So at one point I was like, camera मेरे पास है, मैं खुश हूँ कैमरे से. But अगर better होता तो अच्छा होता. But you know, I have money right now, I'll buy a lens. मेरे पास fisheye lens नहीं है, मैं fisheye लूँगा. Because fisheye opens you up to a world of craziness. I think the only thing that you should invest in photography, any money that you have in whatever gear you want to buy, should be a gear that helps you see things differently. Yeah. Nothing else will help you.
That's such a good
so thing. That would be lighting or different lenses.
Remember when we were talking about just when I had sold my Canon 200D,
yeah,
and I was about to switch to Fuji. We were just having this conversation. Yeah. I really feel when I get this camera, because I have like so much feedback, it just makes you think differently and shoot differently.
Yeah.
And I want to buy it. And all of my friends, Sumit को भी मैंने call किया था. And so it's like, अरे bro, फिर A7 III ले लेना अगर इतना. And I was like, but if I'm shooting something with A7 III,
yeah,
I must be getting that kind of a client, and I can just rent it out.
Yeah.
So if I have money and if I want to buy a camera, why shouldn't I buy something which I'm gonna 100% enjoy just shooting?
Yeah.
By just having it. And Fuji, I am a kind of person who really focuses on how something feels, looks, and design and vintageness. And that is like goes like chashma, gadi, camera, laptop, or kind of. It needs to be like a certain level of good design.
Yeah,
standards.
yeah.
And when you have that, just shooting something is so much fun.
Yeah.
Riding a bullet is so much fun than riding a other bike, even though both things are going to take you from one point to A. But something is more reliable, more sturdy, and it really makes you feel appreciate more about the bike. rather than एक बाइक रहेगा जिसपे कचरा पड़ा हाथ चलना लेके जाते हैं पेट्रोल नहीं भरा उसमें
हाँ basically वही है bro.
And Fuji, you know, like keep it nice and look at it, and like again, like it's not, I'm not babying my camera.
You will only baby it for 1 month.
Yeah.
उसके बाद it becomes a workhorse.
I had my 200D. I gave it to the guy who was like bought it because I wanted to sell it. And I was like, sir, इससे आप जंगल में लड़के आए हो क्या हालत कर दिया कैमरा? I'm like, but bro, is this supposed to be a camera? I'm just gonna use it, throw it in my bag, and like get out of it. I'm just not gonna be like, अच्छा, it's nice, like keep it.
प्यार से थोड़ा रखना कैमरा. Exactly. I also firmly believe that everyone should have 2 cameras. Because as a photographer, if you're working as
why? Justify yourself.
Justifying. So, if you're a professional photographer making money off the art, you should have 2 cameras. One that gets you the money and one that gets you the happiness. And I don't think the same camera can give you both. I firmly believe that. I have a Canon 6D. It's shredded, like it's great. I've shown you, right? RIP. It's almost like it's waiting to be like buried under the ground. But the thing is that camera still shoots. That camera I use to shoot my more professional work. Like if I'm shooting, I shoot warehouses and I shoot concerts and stuff for a living. So I use that camera to get the length, like the long lenses go on it properly. The wide angle lenses look wide on it, you know. So it gives me that thing that this is a workhorse camera. It will do everything that I needed to do for the client. But the camera that I shoot on every day is a Fuji. It's Chotu wala. It's a Fuji that no one will buy because no one can justify paying 80,000 rupees for it. Because it's crazy. It's just this tiny piece of camera. It's a point and shoot. Can't even change the lens.
Very beautiful.
It's a great piece of. It looks lustful. Don't get me wrong. All Fuji cameras are good. That going for them. Fuji boys, man. So, but I do feel that a second camera that you have will be the camera that you will find more happiness shooting with because it goes with you everywhere. Yeah. That doesn't have to be a camera. It can be a phone.
Exactly like that. I often try to explain to people, no, this is just for me. Yeah. I love shooting portraits. I love how the colors come in this. और मेरे को नहीं फर्क पड़ता. अगर client को चाहिए तो A7 R3 होना ही है rent. और client budget लेके आएगा और उसको उस पे shoot करना है तो. If you want the quality, pay for it and like pay the price and get the quality. Yeah. But if you want something which I already have, that it's gonna be on Fuji, it's gonna be on the one lens which I like, and it's gonna be in the colors which I love. And you don't get to say about it.
And nobody gets to define what you do with your camera.
We have in this conversation, we're talking like, why do people want to treat camera companies like a sports रहता है clubs, Bombay Indians और ये और वो वगैरह. Why it has to be like that? कि if I'm proud to shoot this, now it's gonna be like तुम सब इसी से shoot करो. Test it out which works for you and like go about it.
ये YouTubers ने काम खराब कर रखा है ना bro. That's the only problem. But I think it started off with Peter McKinnon, and I'm not saying it did anything bad. It was not his problem. Yeah. He was not trying to solve a problem by using the camera that he did. He used a 1DX Mark II. And everyone wanted a 1DX Mark II because no other camera can do that. What they couldn't see is that this is Peter McKinnon shooting. This is the guy who uses the 1DX Mark II to shoot stuff that way.
and who has like so many years of experience of just using
Yeah.
really high-end cameras to
Yeah.
shoot magic tutorials.
Exactly.
वो कुछ कल का लौंडा नहीं है जो ऐसे पूरा घर भर
Yeah,
बेच
bro.
के लेके आया.
बहुत सारे लोग जो 1DX, I was at a photo walk once. So like everyone was like the camera, like photo walks जो होते हैं ना पहले बॉम्बे में, Mumbai photo walk or something like that. So there'll be a lot of people just like looking at the person with the 1DX one. Like, wow man, what a camera. Must photo लेता होगा 1DX है. And I genuinely didn't feel the person took any great photos with the 1DX because I mean I'm not trying to criticize it. I had no envy. इसके पास है तो मतलब कैसे मेरे पास होना चाहिए तभी अच्छी फोटो आएगी. No, I just genuinely feel that a camera like the 1DX, you're paying for it to shoot birds, you're paying for it to shoot cars, and you need that 20 frames per second.
Yeah.
That is the mechanism you're paying 4 lakhs for, extra over what you otherwise would. If you're not doing that, you don't need a 1DX. बदले फिर भी लोगों को लेना है कि 1DX मतलब अच्छा खींचूंगा मैं. सेम ही शूट करना है तुम्हें ISO 400.
It's like using a laser cutter to cut a pizza.
Yeah, exactly. ले सकते हो, cool है, but पिज्जा ही कट रहा है ना एंड में. I mean, now how you'll be smart about cutting a pizza with a laser is you'll stack 700 pizzas and you'll zoop cut with the laser. It'll be easier probably, right? Can't do it manually with your hand. But वो लोगों को नहीं समझ आता, and that's a little unfortunate because I feel YouTubers have fucked it up.
How did it change the thought process you have currently? It's very practical. It's very self-evaluating. Obviously, beginner time पे तो ऐसा नहीं होता. Beginner पे तो अरे सोनी ही चाहिए.
उस टाइम सोनी कुछ था ही नहीं, bro.
तुम्हारे टाइम पे
Canon 1DX Mark II. I very soon realized this is a great camera. I've rented it out and I've used it. It's a fantastic piece of art. It feels good in your hands. You shoot better with it because it's ergonomically defined. You know, you're holding a camera for 5 hours means you're doing this with your finger. So it's supposed to like at least feel nice, you know. And it's heavy, so you put heavier glasses on it, which are the longer lenses. They fit better. They balance better. Your back feels less of a stress. So I just initially like I figured out कि यार भाई मैं 1DX से भी फोटो लिया, मैंने 6D से भी लिया, सेम फोटो है, मेरे को तो कोई फर्क नहीं पता चल रहा. So I'm like, what people, okay, let me tell you one more thing. What people don't talk about much is the dynamic range of the editable raw file from a camera. No reviewer will tell.
Which really matters on a professional level rather than if you just want to post on.
Which really would be a defining reason why you would pay more for a camera. कि इसका photo better edit होता है. ठीक है? And that just means Sony's and Nikon's. Nikon's actually starting, but Nikon's are still great in their DR. Can take an image. What Nikon's help you do is if you've taken a shitty photograph, it will save it for you because the image is so well done. The raw file coming out of a Nikon, unmatched. Even Sony's can't match it. And I think a lot of people will agree because if you use a Nikon, you just have so much detail in the image. It's what Nikon is known for. I don't think the camera feels very good in the hand to me personally.
No,
I don't.
feels very rough.
It feels it's a tank. ठीक है. I do like my cameras to feel like tanks, but I feel it's a little complicated tank. And I felt Canon was a slightly more easier way to do this. But I just feel that, you know, what reviewers on YouTube should tell you is, you're going from a $500 camera to a $2,000 camera. Will your photo be better apart from the megapixels? Will it have more editability? Can you like is the sensor going to provide you with that much more value? If it doesn't, then that camera has no reason to be $1,500 more worth it to you in any way. It should always be mentioned the dynamic range that an image provides. If I shoot with my GH5, like I have a GH5 which is a micro four thirds sensor, Fuji which is a crop, I also have a 6D which is a full frame. So I've played with all three sensors and I can go for a fact and tell you that all the images edit the same way if they are taken in a studio. If you're buying a camera for studio, a GH5 will give you great images because it's controlled lighting, which most of the people love. Studio में खींचेंगे ना. स्टूडियो में तुम कुछ भी कैमरा खरीद लो, सारे तुम्हें सेम रिजल्ट देने वाले हैं, कोई बेटर रिजल्ट नहीं देगा unless you want the more megapixels because you want to blow up your image on a billboard. For that also only 15 megapixels is enough. Billboards पहले भी थे, जब 15 मेगापिक्सल वाले कैमरे थे, billboards आज भी हैं. जब 150 मेगापिक्सल वाले कैमरे हैं, it doesn't, yes, Hasselblads, right? Nothing changes. You want the detail, you can get the detail. It's the same. You just come so like materialistic about the detail. It's not even important for Instagram.
Do you remember, because we are doing such a gear talk, often like when you think about, you get excited about photography, through gear always.
Yeah.
Like I got started excited about photography. This is the iPhone ka pictures.
Yeah.
Do you remember like how did you?
Campaign.
No. Yeah, like iPhone campaign was like my dad used to be like, because we used to just travel by Activa. And like iPhone se khicha. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? This is shot by iPhone. ये iPhone 4S जिसमें मैं गाने सुन रहा हूँ.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like this is it. And that's where the power. Like, do you remember how did you got introduced to photography?
So my dad always had a DSLR घर पे. He used to shoot videos. He was a teacher, but he was also like kind of involved with the video department in the school. He used to like shoot all the shows and stuff that used to happen. So we always had like good video cameras घर पे and a DSLR, which was a.
What do you mean by good video cameras? How many? What was the resolution? क्या था? 720p.
I think they were 720p, yes, because उस time 1080p was like 4K, and then soon after 4K became like the real like standard. But you see, it was very they were just big and bulky, so they did like just felt like good hardware to you, like do video on, like it's always going to be there, won't like die on you. So we always had cameras घर पे, and I think I got introduced to cameras and stuff that way, and then I got good marks in my boards, 10th boards.
So proud.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, I've been a great student till 12th. And uske baad, I don't know what happened. College mein, I completely ruined my academic part of my life. But essentially, when you get great marks in your boards, you have like leverage. Mere ko ye chahiye. And then you kind of get it. Because, you did well. Theek kuch kiya, ile award. So I used to always be into tech. I still am. I absolutely love technology and I love researching and reading about it. And at that time, the best phone in the market for like tech was the Samsung Omnia. You have no idea what this phone is. Windows mobile phone tha, and I used to love Windows mobile platform. It was the only good platform. There was no Android, no Apple. It was Windows mobile. You have a touchscreen phone, it will have Windows mobile on it. And I love touchscreen phones. So Samsung Omnia had like the best camera, 5 megapixels. Like it was like the thing. And more than the camera, it had great features. Like I think it just helped you shoot like different filters and stuff. I was like, chalo kuch different hai, kuch seekhne ko milega. That was my first phone, and the beauty about having a phone that you love to shoot on is that you shoot everything. वहाँ से फूलों वाली पिक्चर आती हैं, बिल्लियों वाली पिक्चर आती हैं, and then आसमानों पहाड़ों वाली पिक्चरें आती हैं wherever you go. And I just firmly believe that the people who have like a camera that they shoot on, if they shoot on it every day, they will become better at it. And that's all I did. I think I used to love shooting every day. I shoot everything, man.
So you started as a smartphone photography before?
Yeah. Always. Everyone has.
Before it was cool.
Yeah, because man.
ये कौन से साल के बाद?
ये 2010 की बात है.
2010. Yeah. Okay. I was 5th standard. I was in.
Yeah. So like I think anything that goes around with you. Why do I have the Fuji X100? Because it goes around easier with me. Don't have to lug around a bag. It just goes in your pocket. It's the only camera that you can put in your pocket. What really made me get into the whole photography thing was just having fun shooting everything, every day. And the one thing that I told to myself is if I want to get better at this, I have to shoot the same thing every day differently. Only then I can understand.
What did you shoot every day?
Flowers. I had flowers near my house and I had flowers near my school. So I used to always go to the same flower and shoot it differently.
Should we like pick something which is like very near and dear to you? Because I was just going through your highlights and there was a Gyan wala highlight.
Oh, jeez.
And then I was opening it. The last thing, and you can just choose to tell the story or not if you like feel ready.
Just trying to recollect what Gyan have given.
कि खरीदे हुए followers कभी product नहीं खरीदेंगे.
Yeah.
Which was I think a thing about where how influencers just ask you to shoot for free.
Yeah.
Even they might be getting paid from like a brand or they are doing some kind of brand work, and your thing was ki, you know what, if you guys are doing any kind of brand work, get the photographers paid as well.
100%.
Yeah. Was this something like personal experience?
It is always personal experience, man, because I feel that photographers खुद की market खुद खराब कर रहे हैं. Because when you talk about a photographer's market price, that means you're charging 2,000 rupees an hour or something like that, or 25,000 rupees an hour based on your expertise and the kind of work you're doing. Someone out there is going to go do it for free. And I find both that is a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing because it just gives the client, I think in a society like India or an industry like India, people currently, I don't feel like going for quality. They don't really care about the quality. They're going to pick the cheapest guy.
The output where you have to put the pictures on Instagram, like so much, because you have to put like 30 posts in a month.
Yes.
तो तुमको क्वालिटी नहीं चाहिए, तुमको क्वांटिटी डालना है, हाँ डाल दो 30 किसी से कोलैबोरेशन करवा किसी
एग्जैक्टली उनको या तो फ्री में चाहिए, सबसे सस्ता चाहिए, ठीक है। तो वहां पे उनका फिर आ जाता है, यू नो, व्हेन समवनस लाइक टॉकिंग प्राइस, व्हेन अ फोटोग्राफर इज टॉकिंग प्राइस, इज लाइक आई वांट 10,000 रुपीज फ्रॉम दिस प्रोजेक्ट, लाइक 10,000 में तो मुझे ये मिल जाएगा, तो उससे जाके करा लो, कोई बात नहीं। आई थिंक at some point you need to have a stand. You need to have a stand as an artist. If you want to make money out of this artwork, you need to have a stand to define your value of your quality, and that's how it should be. And I think a lot of influencers have started paying the photographers. They're still not paying them enough. It's not right, because influencers, first of all, I think influencers are extremely, like, they hide so much information just to make it look like a value prop. Because pehle main influencer ke sath shoot karta tha, and they used to be like, bro, even I'm not getting paid for this. Then I'm like, you're stupid. You have 100K followers on Instagram. If you're not getting paid for it, why are you getting work done for free for me? You should get paid for this. Why aren't you getting paid for this? First, that was the thought in my head, which I never spoke up, obviously, because I didn't want to.
You used to be humble.
I'm still humble guy. Still now. It's when photographers talk, then we can be a little less humble. Yeah, when an influencer is sitting up, like, wow, you're doing work for free. That's great. Good for you. But I think photographers do need to have an avenue where they don't charge for their work, because then you take out the stress from it. If you're not being paid for something, you don't have to perform extremely great at it. You can if you want to. That's when you learn. If you're given like an opportunity to shoot with Ranveer Singh, he's not going to pay you. They don't believe in paying these stars, because whatever photo you take of them, the extreme value of that photograph is a star. If say Colston Julian, if say Tarun Khewal shoot Ranveer Singh, that photo will be worth the same as if you or me shoot it, regardless of how we shoot it, because it's Ranveer Singh, right? Whoever has to make money off that image has made whatever money they have to make off that image. Whatever extra they save is how much they pay us less and pay them more. So now people have started to realize that. So you'll see a lot of your friends now in the photography community who are not top tier photographers professionally by any sense of word. They are shooting these celebrities. Why? Because they don't charge much. Then the people know that the photograph that you have to get out of this, it has to just go to articles, it has to just go to the brand or whatever, and it will be worth the same thing. Because the value of the brand is being defined by the PR company that holds agency to the model or the celebrity, and the value of the celebrity and the model is also being defined by the PR company. Brands have just left. The brands that are working in the Indian market space right now, PR companies, I believe, are just twisting and molding them in a way that, they're like, just this works. This is how we're going to do it. It's the cheapest way to do it. It's the most efficient way to do it. That's why you don't get good ads anymore. Have you ever realized that?
Yeah.
The ads from like 15 years ago were incredible because they made sense with the brand. It defined the brand's language. Now it doesn't anymore. The ads don't fit perfectly in any way, I feel. And that's because the PR companies are defining it. Because if an agency holds Janhvi Kapoor's contract, they'll be like, we want Janhvi Kapoor to do this only. And they will tell the brand that Janhvi Kapoor will do this only because it's right. I think at some point you have to hold stand to what you believe is your true work and true value. I feel forever in your journey that you are paid your true value. You will always be happy and you'll always keep proceeding and progressing. I feel a photographer should not be paid way above his pay grade. I think it's great if you've cracked that deal. It's great on you as a businessman that you've charged more for the kind of quality you're going to deliver. But I don't think you should, as a photographer, do that. As a businessman, you should. But that kind of client work is never going to help your art in any way. If you really want to help your art, and if you really define that the work that you're doing is worth something, you just have to stand your ground and charge what you should be charging for it.
Are you also this confident when you're talking to the client?
Yes, I believe that I have stopped becoming a photographer and I've become more of a businessman. That's why my Instagram is more photography related. It's no client work, no money involved, nothing at all. It's just stress-free indulgence in the art. And with a client, I will talk business in every possible way that I can.
How do you react when client says कि we really have a limited budget, उसमें ही आपको करना पड़ेगा?
Okay, so I have two ways of going about this. I actually will figure out what the actual budget of the client is, how much they're worth, how much they will pay, because you can define that somehow. Everyone is poor when they have to pay for something, and everyone is very rich when they want to get something done. That's how it works. Okay? So you don't just. I believe that a photographer's time is most important. But the photographer that spends his time, he's spending time to shoot the gig and then edit the gig. It's 2 time slots. So I feel that shooting the gig is supposed 2 hours. Mein kaam khatam ho gaya. If a client is not budging on their
Increasing the budget.
no, they're not increasing the budget, then you either shoot for lesser time and give lesser deliverables. Or if they want to feel that their work is worth more, then you shoot for the same amount of time and just give them more deliverables. The funniest thing is you can shoot a video and give them a 3-minute video and also maybe put in 20 minutes extra and give them 6 reels out of it. To you, that's like easy, just snipping up the video, right? But to a client, it's like, oh, wow, I'm getting 6 reels more. Yeah. So you start being smart about how you spend your time. I believe that charging per hour is the most dumbest thing anyone can do in this industry as an artist. You don't charge per hour, you charge based on the project. I used to charge per hour when I used to shoot nightlife. I was shooting for 2 hours and I charged 2.5 grand. Then I realized sometimes club has 100 people, sometimes it has 2. But when the club has 100 people, I feel I should be charged 15,000 rupees. I should be paying, being paid that much because the work is more, the editable photos are more. I'm like, fuck this. So then I started going with project basis. I asked the client how big is the event, how many people are coming. Based on that, I'll charge them more. I ask how long do I have to shoot for. They say 2 hours. I'll charge them X. If they say 4 hours, I'll charge them Y.
Nice. So the method you are using is actually value pricing. Yes. How much they value they are deriving. Yeah. Accordingly that you are charging. Yeah. What if someone says कि अरे ये दूसरा वाला तो थोड़े कम में कर देगा?
Oh, I love that. उससे करा लो. मैं 100 लेगा.
But उससे नहीं करा सकते. हमको आपका ही काम पसंद है.
कोई बात नहीं. फिर मुझे दो मेरे पैसे और क्या? I mean, people have to be happy that way. They're also smart. If they have contacted you to work with you, they are going to work with you. They just want a better price. So you try and get the best price out of it. They will always negotiate. So I always tell photographers, whoever asks me how to price yourself 100% more than you actually value your work. If I think that a photo shoot I should be paid 20,000 rupees for it, I'll start charging 40,000 rupees to the client. Because something, even if it's a sale mentality, right? You don't give something worth 700 rupees. You tell them it's 1,300 discount. They're like, wow, okay, good, great. So I literally start the conversation with the client and I'm like 40,000 rupees. And then they're like, oh, our budget is not that much. I'm like, you know what? First time you're working, 30. I'm just shaving off. I can't do anything more than this. Like, okay. Then they'll come back. They'll think about it. You already like knocked off 10,000 because it's the first break, like ice breaking sort of advantage that they're getting. They feel nice. You always work on fake goodwill. There's no goodwill here. You wanted to get 20,000 out of this project, you walk away with 30. But everyone is happier than they would have been. You are getting paid more and they're getting more out of it. My idea is to charge, if there's a team involved, my idea is to get everyone paid the work fairly, 100% fairly. Because a lot of these concert photographer mentality is crazy, bro. Because if, like in the teams that shoot concerts, they're like 25 people. Like, what the hell? Shooting for 3 days, 4 days in the heat, the whole day, 12 hours. Everyone should at least walk away with 1 lakh rupees. No? That's what you'll imagine. So 25 lakh charge kiya hoga unhone, 25 log hain. No. They probably would have charged 15 lakhs. But 20 of those 25 people have come for free. They have come for exposure. They have just come to spend their time, have a good time at the event, maybe get some free drinks, look at some nice girls, and shoot the artists that they love, of course.
You also have very strong opinions on exposure, right?
I do. I feel there is good exposure and there's bad exposure. Let me tell you about exposure. So when
in this segment of Frame of Mind, we will talk about
exposure and how you can pay your works, how you can pay your life and pay your rent with exposure. So good exposure and bad exposure. Now, if you shoot with a person who's a little popular on Instagram, 500k followers, and they'll be like, you're like, I think I should shoot for free because you take the stress out of my mind. And their person said they'll give me exposure, like a tag, I'll get credits. लोगों को पता चलेगा कि मैंने ये फोटो खींची है. एक घंटा किसी को पता लगना है तुमने फोटो खींची है because no one gives a shit. Because if you are a photographer who shot someone's great photograph who's 500k popular on Instagram, nobody cares about the photographer. Nobody does. But as a photographer, when you post their picture, your followers will go and follow them. They are getting the exposure out of it.
Also, I loved how you have explained that thing, following वाला group, कि अगर शाहरुख को कोई फॉलो कर रहा है और उसके मिलियंस पे फॉलोअर है, वो शाहरुख के फॉलोअर्स है. You have to think about. No one is going to be like शाहरुख का
क्या फोटो खींचे शाहरुख की,
क्या फोटो खींचे. No one's going to be like शाहरुख कितना अच्छा दिख रहा है. And that's where the conversation ends.
Exactly.
unless and until it's a company or an agency which is thinking ki acha the guy who shot Shah Rukh's picture, I want that guy.
100%. I believe a photographer blows up because not because they have shot someone. They're not getting recognition for being the photographer of this photograph of Shah Rukh Khan. They are being popular, or they are being recommended to people to see this image on Instagram, on social media, because their image blew up. They have put some money into that image. Any photographer that has blown up because of one photograph. And even he or she couldn't predict that they would have blown up because of that photograph. It just did. It just so happened. And it could be anyone. You could shoot someone who has 5K followers or 500K followers. Doesn't mean you'll get more exposure from there. And coming to the point of good exposure and bad exposure, I think getting a tag and a credit is not good exposure in any way. If you have shot with someone, I believe a good form of exposure is if the person who you have shot with, if they posted the image, they first of all mention a statement about you in the caption that it was a great experience shooting with this person, and I recommend anyone and everyone out there to go and use the services. That's
Maybe also post a selfie or something.
yeah,
Great.
yeah, that's also cool. You know, the more you show out your personality, that you're also, as a photographer, not known just for your work. You're known for who you are as well. That's also very important. People love Peter McKinnon not for his work. They love because it's Peter McKinnon. He's a great person to watch and look up to. So I believe that people who are actually like giving away exposure, give it the right way. Mention on the story that you're giving exposure the right way if you can direct some क्या कहते हैं prospective customers to this person. That's good exposure, right? People don't want to become popular on Instagram. I don't care if I have 100K followers or 1 million followers on Instagram. I need to know how many of those will pay me. I'm running a service here, man. I'm charging money for it.
Try to make a money.
Yeah, I'm not shooting someone for 500K followers, someone who has 500K followers, to then get messages from 3 other of his friends, hey, shoot me for free also. That's not how it works. Those 3 people need to be told explicitly that he will charge for a photo shoot. That is good exposure. Some people are like, अरे बहुत अच्छे photographer shoot कर ले, recommend देता हूँ. No, should be like, he does charge for his services. Everyone should know this and say this. No photographer should ever be said to be a person who is shot for free. They have spent their time. It's never free. The collaboration has happened because both parties were involved in it. And if a recommendation is supposed to be passed forward, it should always be passed forward with the remark that he will charge for his services and that you should pay him for his services because he's that good. That is good exposure.
It just shows that the person who's hiring you for the first time also values you.
Yes. And that has happened to me about 2 times only in my career. And these are the people I've not even shot with. These are people I've shot for. They are the designers. They are the clients that have gotten me on board. Not the person that I'm shooting. But they liked my work and they've recommended further to other people that I've gotten connections from, that I've gotten contacts from. That I would also like to pay for your services because we like your work too. So people on Instagram need to understand that. That's all. एक्सपोजर दो यार, एक्सपोजर के लिए काम करना सर, एक्सपोजर के लिए काम करना कोई बुरी बात नहीं है, लेकिन समझो कि एक्सपोजर अच्छे से लेना कैसे, वो भी लोगों को नहीं पता. उनके लिए टैग क्रेडिट सब ठीक है, लोग रंडी रो रहे हैं मतलब कि टैग नहीं किया यार, क्रेडिट्स नहीं दिया यार, तो कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला है. You have to figure out if someone has posted your picture without a tag or credit, how to make the most of it. Let all of your friends share your images. ये फोटो देख मैच इसने खींचा, स्टोरी पर सबने डाल दिया. That is good work. That is good exposure. I think people that support you should also unconditionally and unabashedly support however you want to be supported. I think how people support you, you have to let them know that this is how I would like to be supported. Bhai, you know, the funniest thing, I feel the most hypocritical thing is, log Shraddha Kapoor ka hanky kharid lenge if she's put it up on eBay, and they'll just not spend money into their friends' businesses. As a photographer, I believe that any time any of my friends need a photographer, that I should be the only person they come to.
And like friends ka, like the thing is, like I had just posted like a thode din time pehle ki the way friends ask for your services kind of a devalues, because there is a good way to ask, there is a bad way to ask. A friend, if they want to work with you, let's say they have a business, they have like something, they could just be like, bro, I want to do this, I know you could be the great person, can you give me at least a friend's discount, or like can we do like something else, rather than just be like, are ye tu kar dena seedha, and there is no money talk. That's the most awkward thing, because the other person will be always thinking, is there some kind of money involved? Should I ask? Is it a good time to talk? Not right or wrong? And then the whole friendship also f's up.
थोड़ा वहाँ पे I think mindfulness दिखाना चाहिए लोगों को. It's very important, man. I think you need support working in this industry, working as a photographer in this industry, and you need the most support from your friends, because they are the only people that will be in your life. You want to know, and you need to know that they will always be there in the same capacity for you, and also to promote and channel your work. It's very important. लोग नहीं करते हैं उतना यार. I don't know.
This is really insightful talk.
That's
Thank you so much for doing this. Okay, if you're still watching this, the podcast is sponsored and done at Big Shot Studios, which is the studio of my dear friend Kunal and Rusha. You can check us out. I'll put the details of the studio in the description. And Vink, what do you think about the studio?
It's great. I walked in and I'm like, wow. Okay, so the natural light coming from this window, and I think abhi kya time ho raha hai? Evening ho raha hai na?
It's currently 4.
4, right? Okay, so basically in evening time you get a natural light from this side, and from the morning time you'll get it from that side. So I believe, based on how you want to shoot and the kind of themes you want to create, I think this place is great throughout the day. So yeah, you should definitely come. मैं तो आ रहा हूँ bro. So I will.
Oh, yes.
I will
Please come.
discuss. I should really come and shoot something here too.